USS Redfish, last of the fleet's submarines. Beneath the rolling waves of the Pacific lies a forgotten chapter of naval history, one written in steel, silence, and endurance. The fleet submarine was a distinct type of underwater warrior, long before nuclear reactors propelled submarines for months at a time. USS Redfish SS-395, a submarine that operated at the intersection of two war eras, was one of the final of these powerful ships. Redfish was created for a harsh mission: chase the enemy in inhospitable waters, withstand constant depth charge strikes, and come home with her crew unscathed. She was launched during the last terrible years of World War II. Her adventure was far from ended, even though she joined the Navy at a time when submarine warfare had already proven decisive. Redfish endured, silently adjusting as the world entered the tense standoff of the Cold War, whereas many of her sister boats were swiftly retired after the war. The USS Redfish continued to operate, train crews, and demonstrate the superiority of human skill over automation as nuclear submarines appeared and technology advanced. Her tale is one of change, resiliency, and legacy rather than fame or glory. The USS Redfish, the final submarine in the fleet, and the end of an era under the sea are the subjects of this tale. Let's watch. 1. Constructed during the height of submarine warfare. At the height of World War II, when submarines were one of the most potent weapons at sea, the USS Redfish SS-395 was launched in 1944. She was a member of the Balao class, an improved version of the Gato class that was intended to attack harder, dive deeper, and withstand longer patrols. Redfish, constructed at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, was a symbol of the U.S. Navy's proficiency with diesel-electric submarine combat. These boats were referred to as fleet submarines. They were long-range craft designed to hunt independently across large ocean areas while simultaneously assisting surface fleets. Balao-class submarines were among the most durable of their time thanks to their better interior layouts, upgraded batteries, and thicker pressure hulls. Redfish joined the military when the war was coming to an end, but her design made sure she would survive the battle and serve for a long time after many of her peers were discarded. 2. During the Pacific War, a quiet hunter. During World War II, the USS Redfish completed 3 war patrols in the Pacific. Her missions were just as risky as those of legendary submarines like Tang or Wahoo. Redfish sought enemy naval units and commerce ships while operating in Japanese-controlled waterways, which helped to choke off Japan's supply routes. In the Pacific, submarine warfare was harsh and merciless. For weeks, the crews endured intense heat, diesel fumes, perspiration, and unrelenting stress. Hours could pass during a depth charge bombardment, causing the hull to tremble violently as seamen waited silently, uncertain if the next explosion would be lethal. Despite these challenges, Redfish completed her patrols effectively and received battle commendation for her efforts during the conflict. She may not have been as well known as some high-scoring submarines, but she personified the silent perseverance that finally contributed to victory. 3. From Cold War asset to war machine, Redfish stood out among the many submarines that were swiftly decommissioned following World War II. The U.S. Navy realized it needed submarines not only for battle, but also for training, experimentation, and deterrent as world tensions turned toward the Cold War. Redfish's service life was significantly longer than her designers had anticipated when she was kept and updated. She joined the Navy's endeavor to unite the diesel-electric period and the emergence of nuclear propulsion. Redfish took part in training exercises for the next generation of submariners, many of whom would go on to serve on nuclear vessels like Skipjack and Nautilus. In this capacity, Redfish ensured that valuable lessons learned during the war were not lost by preserving submarine knowledge during a time of fast technical change. 4. Fleet submarine, a breed in patience. By today's standards, fleet submarines like Redfish were built for endurance rather than stealth. They mostly submerged to attack or avoid adversaries, but they spent a large portion of their time on the surface, charging batteries and making extensive trips. This idea was a great success during World War II, but the Cold War required something different. Submarines that could move more quickly underwater, stay underwater indefinitely, and completely evade detection. Fleet submarines were rendered virtually obsolete in the 1950s with the introduction of nuclear-powered submarines. Nuclear boats could outrun diesel submarines underwater, had an almost infinite range, and didn't need to surface. 5. Decommissioning and the last years. One of the last fleet submarines to formally leave active service was the USS Redfish, which was decommissioned in 1969. Her retirement represented the end of a submarine warfare concept that had dominated the seas for almost 30 years, not just the demise of a single ship. Fleet submarines relied more on human endurance than on gear, in contrast to nuclear submarines. Their crews depended on visual periscope sightings, manual charting, and experience-based intuition. With Redfish's decommissioning, sonar arrays, computers, and reactors took its place as the most distinctively human method of naval warfare. Redfish's legacy was preserved in naval records and veteran memories, but her steel hull was recycled and she was sold for scrap shortly after she retired. 6. The USS Redfish's life. Even by naval standards, life on Redfish was hard. Crews of around 80 men lived in close quarters with little personal space. As patrols continued, fresh water was limited, bathing were infrequent, and food quality deteriorated. Sailors slept just inches away from engines, batteries, or torpedoes that released harmful gases. But in these circumstances, friendship flourished. Lifelong relationships were formed by the shared adversity. Officers and enlisted men were totally dependent on one another. The boat may be destroyed by a single error. Like all fleet submarines, Redfish was more than just a weapon. It was a floating society built on perseverance, discipline, and trust. Although it is frequently disregarded when talking about submarines, this human aspect is nonetheless one of Redfish's most significant contributions. 7. The significance of the USS Redfish. Despite never having made a spectacular final stand or been turned into a museum ship, USS Redfish is significant because of what she stands for. She was one of the few remaining people from the fleet submarine era, which helped win World War II and influenced submarine strategy for many years. Redfish educated sailors who would later staff the most sophisticated submarines in history, served valiantly in times of war, and adapted in times of peace. Redfish served as a link between the high-tech underwater chess game of the Cold War and the brutal close-quarters fighting of World War II. She was more than just the final submarine in the fleet. She served as a reminder that experience breeds creativity and that advancement never negates the sacrifices made in the past. By commemorating USS Redfish, we pay tribute to the silent professionals who ensured that the lessons learned from the deep are never forgotten. Let us know in the comments what you think about the USS Redfish, last of the fleet submarines, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more captivating content on our YouTube channel.